Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have not only one, but two lovely, stunning, and brave stories to talk about. Yeah, two. So sit back, try and relax with this one. And if you could, whilst you're doing that, leave a like rating. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, turn on bell notifications, share this video, comment on this video, all that good stuff. But today's two stories really go hand in hand in proving, not that we really needed any more proof. I don't know why I said that, but they really go hand in hand in proving how backwards, how insane, how crazy things have become. Firstly, women's cycling. Yep, I can hear you all saying, here we go. In Chicago CycloCross Cup, two of the races were won by not a woman. Nah. And in one of the same races, a woman also finished in second place. I'm lying. She didn't. A man identifying as a woman also finished in second place. Yes, we had two trans cyclists dominating the races. The New York Post go on to report, two transgender cyclists took home gold and silver at a women's cycling event in Chicago, sparking fresh controversy as only one biological female made the podium. Tessa Johnson, 25, won first place in the women's single speed and cat half categories at the Chicago CycloCross Cup (CCC) on October 7th, while Evelyn Williamson, 30, placed second in the single speed contest. Their efforts left only one biological female on the podium for the single speed race, Alison Zmuda. And here are the images on your screen of the winner in first place. Yes, it looks lovely, stunning, and brave. And then in the second race, you can see the same person in first place, but also another male identifying as a woman in second place. And there is a key theme in these pictures. No, not the obvious one, but the other one. All the women that are in these pictures are smiling and laughing. And, you know, as I always say in my videos at this point, when we see these women standing there smiling and laughing when they're put in these situations, it's just so ridiculous to see. It really is. And even if they're liberal in their ways, I struggle personally to believe that in that very moment, something within inside of them isn't saying, hey, look, you know, maybe this isn't right or fair in any way, which is interesting because when they stand there and they feel the effects of something they've been advocating for, which is negatively affecting women, it doesn't feel too good. Or maybe this is just delusional thinking on my part and some women 100% love it. Who knows? For his success in the women's cat half, Johnson won $150 and Williamson received $75 in prize money for placing fourth. Records show Williamson has been racing in the women's category since at least 2017, earning 18 titles. But in 2020, and this is where it gets interesting, he appeared to compete in both the men's and women's categories at the Sky Express Winter Criterium, where he won first place as a woman but did not place against the men. The annual event features over a dozen different races and openly welcomes trans riders. If you have found your way to a CCC event to race your bike and hopefully have some in the process, then you're welcome here, organizers say on the website. The CCC has always been first and foremost about fostering a positive and supportive community built around competitive cyclocross racing, and that means welcoming and challenging everyone who wants to contribute to the series and make it better, it says. Discrimination or harassment of any kind on the basis of race, color, religion, age, gender, sexual orientation, gender identification, wow, how many of these are there, national origin, sports ball team affiliation, or any other stupid ideas someone comes up with to belittle others will not be tolerated. Ah yes, because it is a stupid idea to have that women should be only competing against women. You know, how stupid of people to suggest that. Right, but as you also heard in that article, one of the cyclists even competed against men at one point but didn't place. That's interesting, isn't it? Because it seems to be one of the key things we see with these people who cross over into the women's side of things. You know, they do terrible in the men's competition and think to themselves, well, I'm not going to do too well here, so let's cross over into the women's side of thing. You know, and it's not about competing for them. It's not, because as we saw, the Swimming World Cup held a chance for trans people to enter and compete against trans people, but nobody entered. And I'll leave you guys to decide why that is. I think it's pretty obvious. And unless a huge movement is started in this competition by people, they stand up and they say, nope, enough is enough. Nothing is going to change. Nothing is going to happen, because this organization clearly is all for this stuff, which also shows they don't care about the safety and fairness of women's sport. They don't care about women. It's a huge slap in the face. I understand Chicago is a pretty big blue democratic state, so maybe as well, if sometime in the future that can change, that might help the situation. And we also have a report by Outkick that also tells us what name these two individuals were racing under whilst they were in another race in August. If you needed more evidence of Johnson and Williamson making a mockery of women's cycling and biological women in general, the duo competed under the team name T-Estro Dolls in the Racing Athletic Relay Cross in Chicago back in August. They won the race while competing under the name referencing estrogen. Perhaps the most outrageous and mind-numbing aspect of the situation is that Williamson and Johnson aren't breaking any rules by racing in the women's division, as we know. Yeah, so they're definitely getting a kick out of this, otherwise they wouldn't race under that name. And then we have one of the individuals also who raced in the men's side of things, as we reported on, and didn't place, then crossed over into the women's side of things. They know they're making a mockery of this whole thing. I don't need to go on any further about this story, otherwise I'll end up going in circles. You leave your comments down below about this one. It's going to be very interesting to see. But on to our second story for this video. But back to the Democrats. Yes, those lovely people. They're not too happy right now, as usual, after the GOP pushed laws to protect women, protect their safety, and also stop the erosion of common sense. In Wisconsin, there was a general assembly where Republicans were pushing to protect women's sport and safety, and the Democrats, well, they acted in a classic Democrat way, anything but normal. And one of them argued, and get ready for this, one of them argued that if women are getting beaten by men in their sport, they simply need to work harder. Take a watch.
This bill is not about hate. This bill is about allowing women to have the opportunity to compete.
The mere introduction of policy to separate children based on their identity is inherently disrespectful. The evidence is clear, Mr. Speaker. State legislative bodies across the nation have pushed over 500 bills targeting the LGBTQ community, especially transgender and non-binary individuals. These bills, Mr. Speaker, are not only targeting sports and school athletics, but encroaching on people's basic human rights. And it's important for us all to remember that even if these bills fail to become law, which they will fail to become law because thank you to Governor Evers, who was already committed to vetoing them, just the introduction of them, just the discussion and the introduction of them is inherently harmful and life-threatening to LGBTQ plus individuals. Yes, life-threatening, folks.
The two bills introduced by Republicans place new restrictions on who can play sports. For teams at public schools, private schools in the Parental Choice Program, UW schools, and technical colleges, saying athletes can only play for teams that match their sex determined at birth. Republicans say this protects opportunity in women's sports.
This is not so much about who is right, who's wrong. This is about safety. This is about being fair. And this is about if I'm on the girls' soccer team, I'd like to score a goal once in a while.
Meanwhile, Democrats argue it's discrimination toward the LGBTQ community.
And my granddaughter, who's playing college sports, I asked her about this when we had this 2 years ago, and she said, you know what? If a trans woman was competing against me in the sport, then that just means if that person's better than me, I need to work harder.
Wow. This is genuinely how people think. It blows my mind. And these people are in high positions. If you, as a woman, find yourself competing against a male, which women have the physical disadvantage, and if you lose, that's down to you. You need to find a way to beat the male. You need to train harder. No matter how hard a woman trains, she's never going to have the physical advantage. You can't rewrite biology. Okay, you can't rewrite the facts. Facts override delusion. How does this make any sense? It's not discrimination or whatever buzzword these people like to whip up and send out to label people as for saying this stuff. It is common sense. It's about protecting women, keeping the sport safe, fair, protecting the integrity of the sport, and not only all of those things, but the reality we live in. The more we go about and act like this, how Democrats want to act, the further we get away from truth. And, you know, for society, it is a slippery slope when we head down that road. They do not care about women. They do not care about how women feel. They only care about one thing, and that is simply the agenda. But leave your thoughts down below on this one. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to hear them all. If you have enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like rating. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, turn on bell notifications, share this video. But until next time, until tomorrow, it has been your boy JD. Have a great day, stay safe, and I'm out. Peace.